Oh yeah, guys. So the update at the moment is, remember the other day I was saying to you about how there has been, like, there was suddenly an increase of earthquakes seems to be happening, and I was right after that I was saying, well, New York got hit basically within hours after I posted my last video. That was on Friday. On top of that, I actually found that there actually isn't just two 7 earthquakes, one in Taiwan and one in the Tonga and Japan. Taiwan and Japan, both 7 plus. But then there was a 6.9 in PNG, which is 6.9, 7.0, depending on where you want it. So on average, it's like at least 3 sevens. And then we've got a 6.5, which I can't remember where that one actually is. I think it might have been, they're all on the Ring of Fire. Now, the interesting thing too is that in terms of my relation to saying that there is a correlation between dark matter or cosmic radiation and earthquakes, there's actually a couple of really good research being done on that recently, which is, one is by, well, it's all the same group actually, but the articles are on a alphabet acronym called Credo, which is I won't go into the whole breakdown of it, but it's based in Poland, and yes, it's confirming that yes, there is a correlation between cosmic radiation and earthquakes. So that's, again, feeds what, been previously looked at, possibly the dark matter that was involved in a past comet event is what caused the extinction event that occurred on Earth. And of course we see that during the 1811 event of the new Madrid eclipse line, or the new Madrid fault line, there was also that double factor, that body of 3, which caused cosmic, basically, Anton... physicist Newton. Oh, my brain is not working today. But Newton basically carried out the experiment of basically looking at the harmony between the Earth and the cosmic, and basically found that when you find more than 2 or 3 bodies, or you get your 3 bodies, that it basically becomes very, very hard to predict anything, because it creates a very chaotic fluctuation. And that, that's just really all an aside, because at the end of the day, it just still boils down to the fact that during the 1811 event of the new Madrid fault line, we find that there's the fact that there was a solar storm, there was an eclipse, and there was a comet, all taking basically place at the same time, which is what we're lining up for as well. Now, in terms of the area of impact, when you're looking at the impact on the Earth's magnetic field in terms of relation to that pull from our friends in the galaxy, basically what you're looking at is that it'll be the northeast states that are more likely to be affected than any other. So again, it's interesting that we start to see earthquake activity happening on that new Madrid fault line, because that is actually consistent with where we expect it to be taking place according to the previous modelling. We've already mentioned the fact that there is, all along the ecliptic line, there's a series of basically, or along great significant parts of the ecliptic line, there's states that are basically, and counties that are calling out the National Guard, and we're seeing this happening in New York, and the sort of Baltimore area, which is again because of the concern, not so much of the ecliptic, but because of the series of events that have been taking place in the subways at the moment, which is where they are also carrying out research and exercise currently into the possibility of, they're going to basically simulate a biological release because they want to study it. And we're finding at the same time that New York does appear to have this actual bit of a terror threat going on. And pretty much was quite interesting, because even all the terror threats that took place towards the end of the last year, I think in France and in England, were actually targeted on the subways. And we are seeing that there's going to be nearly 70 aircraft, or 70 Black Hawk Chinooks and Black Hawks in the New York area in the next couple of days, again as part of a counter-terrorism exercise. So, and on top of that, we also have the interesting, just little sidebar to the Baltimore Bridge thing, is that we actually discovered that there are key cargo ships used for rapid deployment, which is essential to basically, if America was going to sort of bail out Europe from any event that the Russians were actually up to, these are vehicles that they need for that, and they're actually trapped in there, and that's causing some concern amongst security analysts. But it's also taking place that there is right now, there is the biggest exercise period that NATO has ever actually held. It's happening on the backdrop where Biden is talking basically about the possibility of sending troops to the Ukraine. And this has been seen by political analysts as basically he's responding to Macron trying to kind of like, get the shine on and get one over Biden by being, more proactive, because that's what Macron's actually calling for, is basically troops in the Ukraine. We are actually, however, already seeing a massive build up of troops in Moldavia, which is recognised as the staging area. So in the event that Russia looks like they're going to take the Ukraine, that's the area where basically the DiMaggio line that they'll be actually checked at. So and we're also seeing that Russia is accusing Ukraine of having attacked that nuclear reactor in the sort of Russian-held area of the Ukraine, which has been sort of a great bit of tug-of-war politically amongst those two sides, and it looks like the Ukrainians previously had a go at it, but the Russians are now having a go at it. The Ukrainians having another go at it, and I remember the last time they did it was actually coordinated with their counter-attack. So again, possibly that has been used as a means to prepare for something big that's about to happen in Europe. So that pretty much was the highlights as we were at this particular moment. I must admit, and of course the other thing that's got running around in the background is the ransom cyber hackerware, which again, when we look at the whole situation of Baltimore, it's like, really, there's no explosions, that's just cables, but we still don't have a reason for why the actual electrics actually failed. And we do know that Baltimore has been the victim on several occasions to the ransomware hack, and that it is critical infrastructure. You can't say it is a terrorist attack, but equally anymore, those who turn around and say, oh no, it's not a terrorist attack, kind of like the same people that are saying, oh no, Wuhan, there's no evidence that Wuhan's linked to a man-made it's making statements where they're equally not in a position to really claim. It's just too soon. However, as I've noted previously, that bridge does actually provide an exit route for any events to take place against a nuclear reactor in the sort of New York, West Haven area there. And it has also proved to be very, very inconvenient in terms of the Americans' plans for basically deploying or reinforcing the Ukraine forces in the event that Russia looks like they're actually going to, put the whole Ukraine on the run, and it's not a Cold War, it's just Russia's going on, it's ours. All of these things are happening at the moment. So I just suspect, gold is going incredibly amazing. The prices at the moment are $3,802. And that's gone up I think about 10-12% in just a week. They're expecting it to, the price I'm quoting in New Zealand, and they're expecting to reach 4,000 by the end of the year, which is that's actually about, give or take, I think that's about 6,000 US. So I would say this year is going to be proved to be every bit equally volatile as previous past years. I'll also add one other thing which I'll add on to it. So I've noticed that recently there's been a lot of protests organised that are designed to be pro-treaty, which I'm a big plus for there. They're also designed to be pro-Free Palestine, which again, and I'll come back to this again, again, pro-climate change, which again, I'm actually quite pro-climate change. I think that climate change has been hijacked, and unfortunately the responses that come with climate change include our, basically centralised power systems, 15-minute cities, greater mass surveillance, and a continuation of the world where the people at the bottom who are not actually consuming the carbon get to pay for the people at the top that carry on to have their gluttonous lifestyles as business as usual. And that, to me, is the biggest issue when we look at climate change. We look at all the Learjets flying into Davos, which is, more and more it becomes clearly, if you follow the World Economic Forum, which again is all behind their narrative called climate change. It's not about the planet, it's about basically pro-nuclear, which again, uranium has stocks have increased increasingly as lithium and nickel have basically become under control of China, which anybody who'd actually studied this would have worked out beforehand. So governments that have bought into this and set up infrastructure have basically made very, very expensive mistakes, and nuclear is going to come and be the baby that rescues us all. And I suppose if suddenly all the electricity switches off tomorrow, that'll be one more reason why they say, nuclear is so much more reliable. And of course, the other aspect of it was also the Free Palestine. So again, absolutely what Israel's doing is absolutely horrible. But what I'm getting frustrated about all this is, and you see it happening on the opposite with the freedom movement. And you go to Golden Bay, and it's like, there's one protest there for chemtrails and for the vaccines, and it's like, first of all, it confuses everybody because nobody knows what you actually causes. Number one is not everyone actually, pick an issue, rally behind it. And that means that everybody at that protest actually is there, and then it has gravitas. But what's actually happening instead is that the neoliberal left are replicating the neoconservative right, and then what they're doing is they're hijacking social activism so that it becomes a means of basically scoring votes, and that's why they don't mind mixing it all up, because it's basically party hijacking of the issues, which again then get controlled. Who gets to speak, who doesn't get to speak. This is not democracy. This is apparatchik politics of the worst kind, because it actually undermines the coin on currency of democracy. And both sides seem to be quite doing it, which probably means that it's sort of the cork out of the bottle. God knows how you fix it, but that's where we are at the moment. But I think April's going to could be like Y2K, all much ado about nothing. Look, for example, the little clip there that shows you the guy still looking at the window at Leave the World Behind. Not actually photoshopped. Again, talks about people leaving businesses behind. Turns out to be not quite correct. So obviously a lot of dirty politics has been playing as again we go from April into November into the primaries. But when we turn around and look at it, there are a number of things in that movie which are quite disconcerting. And when you look at the science in terms of the dark matter relation, in terms of past events, and what not just NASA but the military are very interested in how these events are going to affect propagation. I think they're legitimate to say it's be precautious. Make sure you got water stocked up. Make sure you got bandages, your standard first aid kit, fuel in the car, a little bit of fucking spending cash in case the machines do go down, and live life normally. But as they say in the Boy Scouts, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Roger out.